Caught on video, officers pull a man from a burning car. The scary crash might have started with a dispute between drivers.
One of those drivers was an employee with the Department of Corrections. CBS2's Tina Patel is live in Colton right now with more on how this all happened. Tina.
Well, several people pulled over when they saw this car on fire not far from here. It was their quick actions that saved this driver. Take a look. Now, that Lexus had overturned after colliding with another car on the interchange from the 10 freeway to the 215 south. The passenger in the Lexus was able to get out on his own, but the driver was unconscious. Luckily, that CHP officer, with the help of some good Samaritans, was able to get the driver out through the sunroof. But CHP is now investigating the circumstances of the crash. The other driver says this might not have been an accident.
The individuals in that vehicle were chasing me, actually. And they tried to sideswipe me and push me off the overpass, and I went into a spin out, and it resulted in this. We were able to pull one of the individuals out, the other one was already out, and hopefully everybody will be safe.
Do you think this is job related?
Possibly.
Possibly. Were you in a marked vehicle?
No.
Now, you can see that employee with the California Department of Corrections had a bloody arm. He was taken to the hospital to be treated, as was the driver that was taken out of that Lexus. Right now, CHP is still trying to figure out exactly what happened before the crash. If you have any information that can help them, you're asked to contact them. Live in Colton, Tina Patel, CBS 2 News.
Let's go to some breaking news right now in Pasadena. Fire ripping through a large Victorian home on Mountain Street. That's near Fair Oaks. Sky 2 overhead in just the last 20 minutes. We're told that house is vacant and there are no reports of any injuries.
Caught on camera, a creepy incident at an Orange County Target. A man points a camera up a woman's skirt, but one local dad doesn't let him get away with it. CBS 2's Stacy Butler is live in Santa Ana at the Orange County Jail, where the suspect is being held tonight. Stacy.
Yeah, you guys, if you can believe it, it's called upskirting, and it's only a misdemeanor, invasion of privacy. But one dad refused to let this guy get away with it. When this Orange County dad noticed this man approach his 15-year-old daughter in the Cypress Target Sunday night at 7:45 with a cell phone held low, pointed up in the direction of her skirt, he blocked him from getting close to her. But minutes later, as Ismael Duarte and his family stood in line, he saw the same bald man in a tank top strike again, this time bending down and apparently recording video up another woman's skirt. Target's security tape captured the confrontation.
We were coming over to the register, and here he comes again, pops out, following another girl with the dress.
Duarte kicked the cell phone from 29-year-old Jorge Ibarra.
My husband was basically almost on top of the guy and asking him to give him his phone, and he wouldn't.
Duarte and his wife ran after the man, snapping pictures of him and his license plate. That's all police needed to catch him.
It's disgusting that he knew exactly what he was doing. If he went to different Targets to do this, how many other stores did he go to?
Target security tape shows Ibarra placing his cell phone on the ground near other women in the Cypress Target that same night. Police say earlier that day at a Target in Cerritos, Ibarra used his cell phone to inappropriately videotape and take pictures of women there as well. The Duarte say the Cypress Target manager told them the staff had been warned that a man with Ibarra's description was targeting women in that store just 1 hour before.
And I said, why weren't you looking for him? This could have been prevented. And he just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
While the suspect remains behind bars here at the Orange County Jail, Target released a statement late tonight saying that their customers' safety is their first concern and they're cooperating fully with this investigation. Meanwhile, police say that they found evidence and they believe that there are other victims out there. If you have any information, Cypress Police would like to hear from you. It's the latest from Santa Ana. Back to you guys in the studio.
Stacy, thank you. Developing news right now out of Las Vegas tonight. Police say 4 Southern California dentists have been arrested at the Wynn Hotel on sexual assault and kidnapping charges. They are Ali Badkobikhai and Salman Sina Emporia Edelat, his brothers. A woman says that she was attacked by all 4 men in their hotel suite, and police say evidence shows that she was raped.
An explosive end to a tour of the Hollywood Hills. A van for the Ultimate Hollywood Tour Company caught fire this afternoon. Thankfully, no one was inside the van when the flames started. Customers had gotten out of the van to enjoy the view. A man from the tour company said the fire started in the engine.
Dramatic new video tonight showing that moment an Aeromexico plane crashed in a field just after takeoff. Everyone survived. And the man who captured it is a pastor at a church in Reseda. That's where CBS 2's Rachel Kim is now live with this report. Rachel?
Yeah, Jeff, the Wednesday night service here at the Church Power of God had a special meaning tonight. They had a service of gratitude that one of their pastors and the other passengers made it out of the plane's wreckage alive. Ramin Parsa was recording during takeoff when Aeromexico Flight 2431 suddenly slammed back down on the runway. The cell phone video went black, but screams and prayers could be heard from terrified passengers.
It was pitch dark and we started smelling smoke. So we could not breathe, almost like this, smoking like that. We're trying to break the window with our legs.
Parsa is a pastor for the Iranian congregation at the Church Power of God in Reseda. He was among the 103 passengers and crew that survived. He explained what it was like inside the plane after it crashed.
Imagine you put 100 people in a room, in a dark room, pitch dark, filled with smoke, and there's a small door, everyone's trying to find it.
With the plane in flames, passengers could be heard coughing, crying, and hyperventilating after escaping the wreckage. Mexican officials say the control tower reported the jetliner descended abruptly as it attempted takeoff, possibly due to a severe gust of wind. The left wing appeared to hit the ground. The plane stopped more than 300 yards from the runway after losing its engines. It remained upright, allowing exit slides to deploy. Back at Parsa's Church in Reseda Wednesday night, a prayer service for those who were on the plane.
We're very grateful to God that nobody lost their lives.
Reverend Lupita Navar says Parsa went to Durango after getting an invitation to preach at a youth camp. She believes his life and the others were spared because God has a bigger purpose for them.
He's a man very passionate, so people would know God in a personal way, and that's his mission in life.
Parsa is still in Mexico right now. He tells us he'll be back in LA very soon. Reporting live tonight in Reseda, Rachel Kim, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Rachel. A group of Angelenos is stumping to keep the city from cutting down 18 ficus trees in Hollywood. City officials say the trees on the 1200 block of North Cherokee Avenue are a safety hazard.
Yeah, they say overgrown roots have made the sidewalk inaccessible to people in wheelchairs. Tonight, a small group of demonstrators gathered to urge the city to fix the sidewalks instead of cutting those trees down.
We're here to say, City Hall, get out of the 1980s, get with it, stop chopping down the trees.
A spokesperson with the Public Works Department says the removal of those trees is part of an overall $3 billion city improvement program, and that every tree that is removed will then be replaced by 2 new ones.
The Trader Joe's in Silver Lake is getting ready to reopen tomorrow, less than 2 weeks after a manager was killed in a shootout between police and a suspect. CBS 2's Tom Waite is live in Silver Lake, where employees have been getting the store ready for what will likely be an emotional reopening. Tom.
Yeah, absolutely, Suzanne. It's still such an emotional scene out here as people continue to pay tribute to Melly Corrado, who was killed during the shootout. And as you said, there is staff here getting the store ready to reopen tomorrow morning.
I think it's going to be very emotional.
With just hours before Trader Joe's staff come back here to a place that will never feel the same, there continues to be an outpouring of love and support. Jessica Coy and her family members have all worked at one time for Trader Joe's.
I know I've talked to a lot of past coworkers that I used to work with. They're coming here and helping the store. It's been really like a camaraderie and people coming together. I'm really hoping that the employees and the customers that were involved in it, I really hope that they can get through it.
It's been almost 2 weeks since the shooting, where an armed man opened fire on police at the end of a pursuit here at the store. The LAPD returned fire. One of their bullets took the life of assistant manager Melly Corrado. Members of the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council gathered tonight for their regular meeting to discuss the tragedy.
I want to commend the customers, the employees of Trader Joe's for their assistance. There were some heroes inside that store.
No doubt Corrado will be on the minds and in the hearts of staff and customers who return tomorrow, and it's likely the wounds of what happened here will take a long time to heal.
Maybe come here and not celebrate the opening, but just like be part of the family and be together, because that's what they need. They need to have support.
And I did speak with a couple of employees off camera tonight, and they say they are a little concerned about coming back tomorrow, but they're also looking forward to it because they feel like this is a community. As far as the shooter, he's still locked up, facing a slew of felony charges, including murder charges. Reporting live in Silver Lake, I'm Tom Waite, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Tom. A new lead in the killing of a cardiologist who treated President George H.W. Bush.
Why the motive may have been a 20-year-old grudge. That's ahead. Plus this.
Come on, dude, seriously.
Why a kid's baseball coach and a parent started fighting after a game.
And a 2 on your side warning tonight about a new online scheme where crooks prove that they already have your password.
Hey everybody, I'm Garth Kemp. Coming up, not a bad weekend shaping up. It is summer after all, but we have a big warm-up heading our way. We'll show you that coming up.
And here's a look at the guests tonight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.